Hi, Natalie. Hi, Tom. Hi, Jessica.
Lizzie is here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Lizzie.
Okay, good. Now, how do I get my fat face up there?
Hit video. Hit the video button.
Start video, right? Start video?
I think so.
I am just,
Oh, there you are.
God almighty. It's just too much sometimes. And this looks like an adult beverage, but it's not.
I wouldn't admit that.
It's only
No
3:30.
rules that you can't have an adult beverage.
Not at 3:30 in the afternoon.
What's this? I mean, this could be anything, right?
Our meetings would be a lot more interesting if we all had adult beverages. Not that they're not interesting now, but.
Did we budget that? Well, Audrey, should we go ahead and get started? We have.
It's time and we have enough people, so we're good to go.
Okay. Well, welcome. We'll call the meeting to order. The purpose of the Meridian Arts Commission is to develop, advance, and nurture all facets of the arts to enhance the quality of life for Meridian residents and visitors. So with that, let's do a roll call. Lizzie?
More or less here.
Okay. Jessica?
I'm here.
Natalie?
Here.
I'm here. Leslie? Maria?
Here.
Jennifer? Tom?
Here.
Rhea?
Here.
Joe, is Joe in? Okay, the first order of business is we need to adopt the agenda. Could I have a motion for that, please?
Madam Chair, I move that we adopt the agenda.
Thank you. Do you have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda has been adopted. Next, we need to do the approval of the minutes of the March 11th meeting.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the minutes from the March 11th Meridian Arts Committee meeting.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes of the March 11th meeting are approved. Next is the approval of the monthly financial statement. That item was attached to our packet. Could we have a motion to approve that? Hello?
I make a motion to approve the financial packet after I unmuted myself.
Thank you, Leslie. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconds.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Please note that Leslie has joined the meeting. Next, let's move on to, okay, so that's approved. And then let's move on to the reports. First on the agenda is the Initial Point Gallery Subcommittee meeting report. Natalie?
Madam Chair, we have currently the Mark McGinnis and Sean Mascalo exhibit up. And Tom, you were the host. Do you want to take over and let us know how it went on Friday?
Sure. From when we opened to approximately 5:30, we had 37 to 38 guests. At the 5:30 mark, we had an additional 6 or 7. I'm sorry, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. Attend. Very well attended. Both artists also were in attendance, and they did a great job of fielding questions and answering questions, particularly the textile artist, the designer, the fashion designer, textile artist that was there, did a great job of really interacting with the guests and giving them the information they needed.
Thanks, Tom.
Great. Yeah, it was a nice opening.
And then we have our call to artist for the Initial Point Gallery for 2022. So we are looking into new artists for next year, so we can make the calendar this summer. And then we have a brochure that Audrey has been putting together that the committee is kind of giving some opinions on. We have that drafted up, and we are putting out a bid to see on printing that and having it available to hand out to potential artists or anybody who might want some more information on the gallery. Do we have an update on the bidding process, Audrey?
Madam Chair and Commissioners, no, I haven't started the bid process yet.
All right. And we won't be meeting until next month, so we don't have another meeting this month to report on.
Okay, did everybody see the brochure was attached as part of the packet? Okay, so Events and Outreach Committee, Leslie, do you want to?
Yeah, sure. We had to, am I muted? No. We had to cancel for lack of a quorum. Unfortunately, we had to switch our meeting from Thursdays to Mondays, and then we had to cancel in March. So we haven't had a meeting since the last time, but our next meeting will be on Monday, April 26th. This is what I have down, because we'll be on the 4th Mondays. So we will be having another meeting, and we're just continuing to move forward on, we're still thinking about, we're hoping we're going to be able to have the live concerts on Broadway this year, but since we start a little bit later, we'll make that decision a little later. We do have the bands lined up, all except for the one that we were going to want to do a variety, but all of those will be coming from local. So that would be something we could put together a little bit more quickly, but the jury's still out a little bit about whether or not we'll be fully back for live shows at that time. I do have, I've gotten from my friends that work Broadway and in the theater and stuff, and I don't know, Tom, if you've probably seen this, the 26-page document that the different unions put together for protocols for opening during, the TSIS. So we have that available to us, and if we can open, we can look at that and see what what are those protocols we can employ. We do have someone that is ready and willing and capable of building the Dickens costumes, and we're still considering how with creative integrity, how we will work some of those types of things into our city programming. Tom, do you want to comment on anything? Anyone else? No? We'll have more of an update after the 26th in our next meeting.
Leslie, do you have anything about the Christmas in Meridian?
Well, that's what I was just saying.
Is that all part of
Yeah, we were considering several different concepts of having some transportation that we have to look at with those types of things, and adding carolers as kind of entertainment and MCs to keep things moving. So yeah, we're still working on that. But we do have someone who's able to build the costumes, should we be able to do that. And then once again, hopefully the protocols by December, and that time will be, we'll be good to go. But
Great. Well, work in progress, right?
Yeah, making progress.
Okay, Public Art Subcommittee project overview. Jessica, do you want to take that?
Yeah, so as you saw from Audrey's email, I think it was earlier this week, we have released our call to artists for the Traffic Box series. So if you all can work your magic and reach out to folks you know, folks you don't know, folks you want to know, and let them know about this. It would be great to get some more submissions, especially from some of those folks who submitted applications for our mural series. Some of them already have traffic boxes in Boise or in other cities, so it would be great to have their contributions in Meridian as well. So I know we have just a week left. I think applications are due on April 15th. So you have one more week to get the word out. And I had shared that Google spreadsheet with information about folks that we reached out to for the mural series. So if you want to reach out to those folks or reach out to other folks and add them, it would be great to really compile a list of people that we can reach out to on a regular basis and let them know about the stuff that we have going on. I think that kind of more personal connection, hopefully means a little bit more than just hearing it through the grapevine or, things like that. So, and there may be groups that we want to work with in the future. So just trying to establish those relationships now. We have the West Ada School District Annual Art Show, which is on Monday, and I'm sad I'm going to miss it because I'm out of town, but hopefully, I think that was the folks in the Public Art Subcommittee were invited to go judge that. And that's really cool. You get to see a lot of great art from the students, and the winners end up as traffic box wraps. So I think it'll be cool for students to see their theirs. And Rhea, I think, is that how you have a wrap, right? Is that how you did that through the art show?
No, mine was just through the normal, the one
Okay.
that you just released. But I have had friends who have gotten it through that.
Oh, good, good. So if you're interested and you have some time on Monday to go check that out, let Audrey know and she can hook you up with the details there. And then Audrey, you've got information about the Parks Identity roster artists for the 10 Mile Trailhead. So do you have an update on that?
Madam Chair and Commissioners, not really an update. I just attached the formal final documents that are posted for our RFP. And last week we held a pre-proposal conference, and as you know, or as we mentioned last time, this RFP is only open to the artists on the Parks Identity roster, which are 3 artists. And so it's not open to everyone, just those 3 artists. So we held a pre-proposal conference on site last week. However, none of the artists came, mostly because I think they've done this before and kind of know how it goes. So mostly we're just waiting to hear back from them by the deadline, which I believe is in May.
I think it's May 16th, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll stay tuned to hear more from that. And then once we get the proposals in, I'm sure we'll be arranging for a meeting where we can meet with the artists and talk about their proposals. And I think we do a rating then and make a decision then about who we're going to select. So I think that'll just be the Public Art Subcommittee, but then does the full commission have to approve that after the subcommittee approves it?
Yes, I think it's timed just so that the commission will be presented with the final artist's design in the June meeting. So
Okay.
the Public Art Subcommittee, along with some representatives from the Parks and Rec Department, will have a selection panel meeting at the end, in the second half of May.
Mhm. Okay, great. And I've been driving past the site there at 10 Mile and Ustick, and it's nice to see that there's like a parking lot there and a trail. So it's fun
I
to
think they
start
just
imagining. Yeah,
Yeah, they just started landscaping last week when we were doing the pre-proposal conference. The landscapers were there putting in plants and things. So it's shaping up.
cool. That's good. That used to be a really narrow trailhead or a real narrow intersection there. So it's nice to see it with some more opportunity for people spending time there. And finally, the public art plan. So thank you all for joining our workshop a couple weeks ago. I thought it went really well, and I really appreciate all of your contributions. It was just nice to see everyone in person and talk about the bigger picture and all that. So Tom, do you want to give us an update on where you are with the plan?
Sure. I apologize. I have not finished capturing the notes and generating all of the criteria, but you will have it shortly. And what that will do is it will reflect everything that was discussed and brainstormed on that specific day. There will be no actionable items from that, but there will be a piece of the document that will have proposed actionable items. There will be no assignment of those deliverables or actionable items. Once I generate all the material, I'll send it to Jessica and Audrey, and then we'll go from there, take the next step to either agree, discuss what's needed upon the actionable items, and then assign responsible parties and a deliverable date to those actionable items. Those action items, so that you know, at the end, toward the end of our creative session, we went through and we weighted the things. We gave priority to the different elements that we thought had stronger weight. So the actionable items will reflect that weighting process. They'll all be there, but the priority of how they are listed is because of how we weighted items, which we pretty much weighted everything very much all actionable. So we may have some work to do to go through and assign deliverable dates to that.
We are just full of great ideas. Thank you, Tom, for all of your work with that. It's we really appreciate it. So we have our next public art subcommittee meeting will be on April 20th, and we'll I think it sounds like you'll have that ready by then, so we can discuss that in our meeting and start making some plans for how we're going to wrap all of that up and turn it into either an addendum to our strategic plan or a freestanding plan of its own. That will be something that we can discuss what form that takes and who wants to take on what tasks associated with our decision. So stay tuned for that.
Great, thanks, Jessica. I'm sorry, were you finished?
Nope, all done.
Good. So Audrey, do you have, who do you have lined up to judge the West Ada School District show?
Madam Chair, I think Lizzie and yourself are the 2 designees to be at the West Ada School District office for judging.
Okay. And do you have criteria as to where we go? Because I know that in the past, they've changed their location several times.
There is a specific entrance, I think. I have the directions,
Okay.
so I'll email it out to you.
Okay, great. Thank you. I had a question about the the artists that are on the parks, that it's only 3 artists that are approved or what? Is there opportunity for artists to be included on that list, or, I think that's really a small number, and we've got a lot of parks.
Yes. So this, I believe I wasn't there when this process took place, but what I understand this process is that we opened an RFQ, artists applied, and these 3 were selected, and we have a master's agreement, which lasts 3 years for these artists. So they are on our roster for the next 3 years. I think this was done in 2019, so I think we have 1 more year to go on that master's agreement before we either decide to not do another roster or issue another RFQ for a new roster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I was somewhat involved with that as a member of the Public Arts Subcommittee. I'm not sure why just 3 artists were selected. Maybe that's all who applied. I don't remember, and I don't have my notes with me. But if we want to do something different with that in the future, I'm certainly open to revisiting that process.
Madam Chair.
Emily, hello.
Hi. So the master agreement expires in 2022, and that is an initiative of the Parks Department. So that's essentially, and this was before Audrey's position came into the Parks Department. So at one point, the arts and the parks were separate. They're a little more together now, but that was really an initiative to help the Parks Department find, I won't say quick and easy, but a faster way to get art, and really it's also for signage and wayfinding and things like that. So it's not a classic public art project, or I guess way of installing art in parks. It's really meant to be something else. But that said, it's certainly something I'm sure the Parks Department will be open to input in 2022.
Okay, well, it's good to know the history because I didn't know that. Thanks, Emily.
Madam Chair, excuse me for just getting clarity on that one issue. So if the 3 who are already approved for that master list, if for those of us who are new to this process, and for those of us who would be on a selection committee, if we find the criteria not fulfilling what we deem necessary, are we able to go beyond that approved list for other artists?
Madam Chair, yes, this is the Parks Superintendent uses this list when the Parks Department has something they want to get done. So we've had a lot of new parks, and the artists have been engaged to put up, to help with the kind of design elements, to put up signs and in a few cases art. But it really just narrows the pool. It's almost more in the nature of a public works kind of initiative. So it's just a identified pool of qualified artists instead of qualified, I can't think of a good example, qualified engineers or something like that. So this is really separate from other art projects that the city does. So when the Arts Commission does its projects, of course, that's a completely different scope, and you're not confined to use those artists at all.
Madam Chair, I don't recall whether or not those were, back to Jessica's point, I don't recall whether or not those were just the only 3, but that's why we wouldn't, right? Because that would have been the RFQ, whichever would have been generated by parks, right? So that's why we don't remember that process, because they would have generated that. We wouldn't remember whether or not there were more. Yeah, because that was an interesting, anyway, I just thought I'd make that comment.
So Tom, did that answer your question?
Maybe, if I may paraphrase, we are not required to use one of those three people if the Arts Commission finds a stronger choice of artist for any public art that we support. Is that correct?
Madam Chair, that is correct.
Thank you for the clarity.
Thank you. Okay, so next on the agenda is the Arts Inclusivity Meridian Project Overview. Tom?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our scheduling time for our regular meeting was rescheduled. We haven't met prior to our last Meridian Art Commission meeting. We are meeting next week, but at that meeting, we will be focusing on our manifesto and specifically of how and or what we propose for consideration, how we best can serve the other subcommittees, and then obviously Meridian Art Commission as a whole. That will be our ultimate deliverable to the commission, the entire commission. And we will be exploring and further refining that this coming week in our meeting.
Great, thank you. Next is the new business. Item number 15 is a recap of the Public Arts Workshop on March 27th. Audrey, Tom, either of you want to take that?
Madam Chair, I think Tom did a great job in the previous report. So unless Tom or Jessica, you have anything else to add, I think that was pretty comprehensive.
It was a good meeting. I thought it was really excellent. Thank you all for attending. Item number 16 is review of the Meridian Arts Commission Strategic Plan 2020 through 2025. Audrey?
Yes, Madam Chair and Commissioners, I brought this up to Bonnie as an agenda item because Tom had highlighted the Arts Commission Strategic Plan in our public art workshop, but we haven't really talked about the strategic plan probably in the last year. And I know a lot of commissioners are new and might not have seen this document. Everyone who attended the public art workshop got a hard copy, but I can show you, it's also on our website, and I can send out a link where you can access it digitally as well. This strategic plan, I know that some commissioners were there for the creation of this plan, but it was created in a similar type workshop to what Tom had led us through last month. And this is the culmination of basically a large brainstorming session and prioritization. And if you scroll through, you'll see the goals, the overarching goals of the Arts Commission. Then related to that, this is a 19-page document, and we have about 14 pages of goals ranked by long-term, mid-term, and near-term. So what are our, the goals we can accomplish quickly with some effort, with long-term effort. And this is a strategic plan that was approved by the Arts Commission, sent to City Council, and approved by the City Council. So this basically outlines what City Council expects of us over the next 5 years. This is our strategic plan for 2020 to 2025. So in looking at this, I admit I haven't spent as much time looking at it, but I'm recommitting myself to turning towards this document. This outlines a lot of where our energy and efforts can be and should be directed in the next 5 years. There's a lot of in between where we can expand and brainstorm and elaborate, but these are a lot of large scale focuses. I think it is a good idea for each subcommittee to look at their own section. There's a public art section, there's an events section, an outreach with the public section. So each subcommittee basically can review a section that they have influence and impact over. But I just wanted to put this before the commission and explain a little bit about the document and how how this might be popping up a little bit more often.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Madam Chair, in reviewing the document prior to our public art workshop, one of the things that jumped out at me was that there was no element contained within the document for a measurement tool as to how we are achieving those goals within the 5-year master plan, strategic plan. And one of the things that you'll all see when you get the notes that was very well received from everybody at our work session last month was really embracing some sort of measurement tool for ourselves and putting that into action. And after we've measured our successes and or where we are falling short, what are the next steps to get back to where we were? That was pretty specific within a lot of the workshop that we had. And so I'm offering it to the full commission for our overarching strategic plan that we should probably think about that as well. We to the best of my knowledge, unless I'm misinterpreting something, there's no measurement tool in there that are we meeting these benchmarks and if we don't, what happens at the end of 2025 for deliverables?
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, Madam Chair and Commissioners, that's a really excellent point made by Tom. If it's okay with the commission, I think I'm going to work with the subcommittee's chairs to put this as an agenda item on each subcommittee's next meeting, just so that each subcommittee can look through the sections that are pertinent to them. And that would be, I think, a great place to give rankings, see what needs to be worked on soon, what needs to be worked on in the future, and what we're doing really well at as well. I think that gives us a really good direction. Mm-hmm.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, Tom, I agree. We don't really have any metrics that give those types of what historically, just to bring the new commissioners up to date, the original, when I came on to the commission, the strategic plan that was in place, then it was the first strategic plan they'd done. And then when we did this one, we took a step towards that by saying near term, midterm, long term. That was a step forward from the document that we'd had before. And so, because before it was just kind of, what are we going to do? I think we'll do this. City Council said, sounds pretty good. And then when Delta came and facilitated, we decided to add that, and the Idaho Commission on the Arts also had suggested adding that priority near, mid, long term. But the next step I would see in that process would be to add some of those metrics that we could, so that you can gauge deliverables. You have deliverables and you have metrics to gauge how you're going forward. I can already see some things that are outdated in the performing arts alone. And so that might be some things that, and this might be a question that Emily might want to get involved with. How much of a working document is this current plan? If there are things that we find in our subcommittees that are outdated, can we make a note of that? Or how much of a working document is this? Or is this what's approved? And can we make any changes at all?
Madam Chair, Commissioners, this is what's approved now, and it's absolutely possible to change it. It's to make it official. It does need to be adopted by City Council by resolution. You're a recommending body, and they're the decision makers. The strategic plan becomes really critical in the expenditure of the MAPS funds, because City Council approves expenditure of those funds on initiatives that are in the strategic plan that is adopted by the commission and approved by council. So that, in that way, the strategic plan is, there's many ways that it's important, but that in that way, it has a really practical tie to the funding that MAPS is entrusted with, not spending, but recommending how to spend it. So I guess I've gone a little bit far afield from your question. It's certainly possible to amend it. It's an effort is made to make it general enough for it to last for 5 years. It is kind of of course, as you know, a process to amend it. So it's possible. It's not probably easy to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Emily. Audrey, do you have anything else to add to that? Any
Madam
other?
Chair, I think that's good. I just wanted to remind everyone of the existence of the document because I haven't myself referred to it very much. So.
Good idea. Thank you, Audrey.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, I haven't looked at it. I looked at it right before I read it over right before because it was included when we did the symposium. What do you call it? The get together, the symposium that we did with Tom at the Public Art. But I'm reminded of what a wonderful day it was when we came up with this, and how much brainstorming and how much just brain dump we did, and really how specific a document we were able to come up with, and to continue to refine it with Tom's suggestions to be able to gauge how we're using the document. I think the more accountable we are, the more we'll look at it and the more valuable a tool it will be. So thanks.
Madam Chair, I just want to second what Leslie said. Thank you, Leslie, for making those points. And I agree. I think we spent a lot of time and effort coming up with that strategic plan and put a lot of thought into what we wanted to accomplish over 5 years. But it's not a meaningful document if we don't revisit it and make sure that we are that we're making use of its information and that we're meeting our goals or working toward meeting our goals. So I think as we go, it would be great to, I think it's a great idea for us to be discussing this in our subcommittees and checking in on a regular basis with how we're doing toward meeting our goals. And it sounds like it would be too difficult to really amend it, but let's make some notes as we go and identify ways that we want to amend it in the coming years. Some or all of us may or may not still be on the commission by then, but we can be providing that information to Audrey or to whoever is chair as we're getting closer, and start talking about what needs to be amended for the next version of our strategic plan, which I'm assuming that we'll start working on that in 2024 so that we've got a sparkling new one ready for us to start working with in the coming years.
Thanks, Jessica. And Audrey, I think it would be great probably to always have that on an item on the subcommittee's agenda, just as a standard item. And if there's nothing to be discussed, there's nothing to be discussed. But I think it's important. It keeps it in everybody's mind. Then I think that we have a strategic plan and like Jessica said, things change and commissioners come and go, and 2025 is not that far off. So anyway, I think that's the last agenda item. If anybody has anything else, now would be the time to bring that up. Or
Madam Chair and Commissioners, this is not really the business of the Meridian Arts Commission, but since we're such close buddies with our friends at, Tom, you're really cracking me up. Since we're such close buddies with our friends at the Boise Co-op, I do need to tell you that as of about 9:30 next Wednesday, there will be a new artist up there. Her name is Jill Story, and she does absolutely beautiful work in pastel. It's going to be quite different. The exhibit that's up there right now is wonderful. If you have a chance, bop on over and see it. I have another artist coming in after Jill's story and another artist after that. So things are kind of rocking and rolling at the co-op. So go see it. Thank you.
Great. All righty. So the next meeting is scheduled for May 13th. And at this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn our MAC meeting.
Any seconds?
Seconds.
All in favor?
I
Bye.
Aye.
And approved? Thank you very much. The meeting now is adjourned. Thank you all for attending. Have a great rest of the week and wonderful weekend.
Bye.
Aye.